Hello everyone, this is Blender Guppy. In this video, we're going to talk about the limited dissolve toggle in random loop extrude and random panels and why it's there. So limited dissolve basically gets rid of the edges and verts based on the set angle threshold. And let's try and use it. I'm going to turn this off and maintain the quad structure and let you see the how you can achieve it manually. So I'm using the bmesh Blender Python equivalent of the command, but you can find it using the X hat key. So it has an inherent equivalent or inherent command in Blender, and it is also named limited dissolve. And if I press this, you can see the result. Basically, the edges, the verts has been cleaned, and the shape is maintained based on the angle threshold. If I increase this, you can see that things start to collapse. So by default, it is 5. You can go lower. And since this is angular, the result pretty much stays the same. So this will start making a difference if you have curved surfaces. So as you can see in some of my videos, I use the toggle even if I'm using it with angular surfaces. And in the last video, I've explained that um, I want my faces to have a quad structure, but not so even. So I'm using this method. I'm using limited dissolve to clean the mesh, and then just use quad slice to basically quad them back, and then select the faces. Again, go to object mode and use the random operators. And if I do maintain the quad structure, turning this off, it's your choice. You can do that in mostly in angular surfaces like this cube here. So you can see it's quadded. And turning this off in angular objects like this, like the cube, is pretty much your choice. But what is it primarily used for? And it is used for curved surfaces like the cylinder here. So let's just establish the mirror, Y and Z, and establish more loops, and use random loop extrude without limited dissolve. So you can already see the effects of the subdivision. As I increase the subdivision, you can see this. You can start to see the bumps here. If we go to edit mode, you can see the quads are pretty much even, but there is distortion in the surface. Even if you use the smooth parameter, 0.5. By the way, 0.5 is the optimal, not 1. So basically 0.5 is the one value for this property. So even if you use smoothing, it will still show up as you go higher with the subdivision. So why is the bump showing up? So where's it coming from? Uh, let's use, so random panels, it also shows up. So this comes from the subdivision method I'm using. There are two kinds, there are two methods you can achieve using subdivision in Blender, and that is in edit mode. By selecting the faces you want to subdivide, let's just extract this first and create a mirror. XYZ. Okay. So first is the edit mode. press W, and you can see S here. I mean subdivide here. The highlighted letter is S, so you can use this. You can use that as the quick access hotkey. So by pressing W and then S, you activate the subdivide. Okay, so that's in edit mode, and another one is in object mode by adding subdivision, the subdivision surface modifier by selecting it here, or by selecting the object and pressing Control 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That 6, yes. Control 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, Control 1 to 5, and that sets the viewport level of the subdivision. And if we show the wireframe, set this to optimal, you can see the increase. Okay, so what's the difference? So this is the edit mode, and this is the one that the script is emulating, or the script for the random panels and random loop extrude is copying or emulating using the BIMesh module, using the Blender Python API. Okay, so WS. Okay, I'm going to remove the overlay, but I'm still going to be in edit mode. So I'm using Shift Alt Z. So WS, 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 and you can see the bumps that you saw earlier that I demonstrated using random loop extrude and random panels. And even if we use the smoothness here, doesn't affect that. There is no property to fix this. This is currently how the subdivision in edit mode operates. Okay, so why not just use the object mode method, the subdivision surface? Because I can't use this method because of the algorithm I'm using. Mostly has to be or not use any outside variables like this subdivision modifier. It has to be all the BIMesh structure. Okay, if I use this, then the face randomization will be uh, gone, or they can I can't randomize the faces using the or select the randomized faces using this method here. Maybe in the future, but who knows? Who knows? The subdivision in edit mode might change, or this might be I might be able to find out a use for this method here, the using the subdivision modifier. But for now, the quickest way, the fastest way for the script to operate or process is using this method, the edit mode method, and not the um, modifier method, subdivision surface modifier method. So if we use this, even if we use this, you can see the result. If I apply this, okay. So why did it do that? Because the mirror modifier is on top of it, and to properly apply this layout, I have to apply the mirror first, then the subdivision modifier second. So to properly apply the modifiers, you apply the top one to the bottom. Okay. So what happens if we just put this up? So that is the effect that you saw when we apply the subdivision modifier. So to fix this, we have to increase the non-manifolds. So as you can see, I have to loop over these edges in the script, and additional loops means that additional processing time. Okay, but basically, just simply put, I can't use this in the script, but of course it doesn't develop those bumps. But to avoid those bumps, we have the limited dissolve toggle here. Okay, so if we, for example, use random panels, get rid of this center line. You can use a combination of smoothing and limited dissolve for higher resolution. If we use this, you can see that the bumps are gone and the surface is clean. But you might see some distortions in some areas, like this one here, because the quad structure is gone and ingons on curved surfaces is not really that, they're not really that friendly to each other. You can see here, it maintained the edges just to maintain the shape on the areas that it needed to maintain the shape of the object. Yeah. Okay. But of course, our operators needs a quad structure in order to operate. So we need to fix this. Oops, it needed that. So we need to quadify this using the quad slice. Linked faces, 0.001, 0.01. Okay, so that is, okay, it's just one here. That is now a quad structure. You can then add more loops. So that is why I created these two here. Grid project and the quad slice to help you fix the, to help you maintain the quad structure quickly or fix the mesh after the effects of the limited dissolve. Okay, so now you can layer another randomized result on top of this, because you have repaired the brought back the quad structure. And if we turn this off, we can probably see the curve again if we increase this, or yes, just a little bit, especially in the center. Let's just decrease the subdivision and just turn this off, turn this on. Okay, so that is what it is primarily used for. Let's try a random loop extrude. Lower this before using it. Without limited dissolve, you can see the bumps. With limited dissolve, and let's get rid of the clipping. Let's clip the center line and also use smoothing. And you can see that we have some distortions. If you see any distortions using limited dissolve in any curved surfaces, you can probably use 2.5. There we go. But if you see any distortions in using limited dissolve on structures like cylinder, just increase the subdivision. WS. And this is bumpy. We have to relax this. As you increase the subdivision, of course, you must decrease the threshold of the subdivision you have to use for using the random operators will also decrease, because the higher the faces you use, and if you subdivide that, of course you'd have to deal with a lot of faces and it could slow down the randomization process. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Always start with a lower resolution, then work your way up. Basically, you have to really know your machine and what it can take. 0.01, 0.18, and okay. So most of the distortions are gone, and it looks a lot cleaner too. It's just 5 degrees. So a combination of cut smooth and the limited dissolve. If we remove this, oh, okay. Just experiment between using the smoothing or not using it. But most of the time, this fixes some of the distortion or make it worse. There we go. And if you need to, uh, for example, if you picked an area that you want to layer another randomized result, just go to edit mode and fix it using the quad slice. Adjust and linked faces. And we have maintained the quad structure. Let's manually clean this. So why didn't that get cleaned? Because it with the limited dissolve, because it needed those vertices to maintain the shape of the object. Using the angle threshold, we are using the angle threshold of 5 degrees. Okay, pick that and random panels. So that is why the limited dissolve is there. And you can still see some distortions here. So hopefully you can fix this by quadding it up and just manipulating the vertices and the edges until you see the bumps gone. So basically just add more stuff and pull it and gently pull and edit stuff until you see the distortion, the little bumps in the surface disappear. Okay, and let's try another curved surface here. Auto smooth. Try random panels and turn limited dissolve off. So we can see the bumps here. Limited dissolve on. Let's try 2.5 and get rid of the smoothing. There we go. We have distortion here. Let's try 5 degrees. Still maintain that. And let's choose another layout and get rid of the, there we go. There. You can still see distortions on some of the curved. If you want to get rid of it, just use the seed, the randomization seed, or if you want the if you want the result but you see a distortion there, just go in and manually fix that. Quad it first, and then we can see that the distortion is resulting from this extra edge here. It doesn't need it probably. So okay, still looks good, but no, the curvature has been messed up. So what do we need to do? So just there we go. And so basically it's up to you to fix the distortion if you really like the result and still seeing some problems in some areas using the quad slice to quadify the structure back again. Okay, let's go back to smoothing, the smooth property. If we use this layout here, and this also works in random loop extrude, but let's use random panels wrap around. In the next version, wrap around will work better with um, objects with no subdivision. If you're not using any subdivision, wrap around method will work more optimally. Okay. What was I thinking? Oh, the smoothing. 0.5 and you can see the result. If you use angle, still the same result. So why is this happening? So in sharp angles or corners, this happens when you use the smoothing. So it's just for this kind of layout. The surface was all the um, curves and not like this one here. Let's try and use this. Point 0.5. So the bloating doesn't happen, but in sharp corners, it appears. And it's also true with the cube. But of course, if you want this effect, you can actually use it because primarily this tool is for concept art. So if you want some weird stuff going on with angular objects, you can probably use this effect to your advantage. Okay, let's use random loop extrude, maintain a quad structure, and use smoothing. There we go. Where's the subdivision? Okay. So the source model is not auto-smoothed. So that's why the result is also not auto-smooth. Okay, so that happens when you use the smoothing property on angular surfaces. So it's mostly for curving surfaces. Okay. And what else? So I think that's basically it. That's that is why the limited dissolve toggle is here. Okay. So in my videos, like I said before, you can see me actually use this even on angular objects. That is because I want to manually fix the topology afterwards. And if I maintain the quad structure, then I'd have to deal with a lot of faces. You can actually maintain the quad structure and use the L hat key to pick the island and use limited dissolve and then just quad it using quad slice. Oh, this already. And then arrange the topology you want because this how the topology is it affects the result of the random randomization. Length flat faces and random loop. Oops. Smoothing is 0. Margin is 0. Let's decrease the cuts and there. So I'm dealing with a lot less faces, and the operation is faster. And instead of dealing with this, just a lot of faces, and the result will still be pretty randomized, but of course, um, using your own topology is a lot more provides you with a lot more interesting result. So if you use the toggle, limited dissolve toggle on angular surfaces or angular objects, it's your choice. Okay, I use it sometimes, and then I maintain a quad structure sometimes because you can actually design the objects afterwards. Okay, so don't just let the add-on model everything. You can actually use the result to model some to manually add stuff yourself. So if you want more faces to play with, to extrude and whatnot, then you can maintain the quad structure, or if you've used limited dissolve, you can quad the faces back using quad slice, and then uh, push and pull the faces you want. After, of course, manipulating the topology, then, so for example, this one here, I can create this detail, taking this face, Control E and bridge. So stuff like that. Okay. So and this works with all the random operators. This method. So don't just let it model everything for you. You can use it to prime the model and then model the stuff yourself afterwards, or add manually add stuff yourself uh, after all the randomization process has been um, used. Okay, that actually looks really good. So you can add stuff to actually increase the manually add stuff to increase the believability, and create the illusion of function over the aesthetics created by the atom. Okay, so that is it for this video. And since I've explained the limited dissolve, we're going to tackle the grid project and quad slice in the next video. And hopefully this is going to be um, quick, because this is this has a lot of functionality, twists and turns. So we're going to see. So thank you for watching. See you in the next video. And use the comment section below if you have any questions, or the links in the description. Again, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.